Okay, so you gotta let this thing develop first. For some reason, if you flick it to the left and flick it to the right, it comes right. My first edit that I do is I use the exposure tool and just drop the exposure by about almost around 1. I bring the highlights, check the highlights, see what it's going to do. Usually I don't have highlights in there, I just drop them down quite about halfway. Shadows I like to just drop down a little bit as well. And contrast, bring that forward a little bit. Well, quite a bit. So here's the amazing part, structure. So structure is one of the things that I love to use, and then the saturation feature. So we'll just finish that one, and boom, the raw photo already looks good. Down the bottom I've already got my last edits and stuff, so I'm not going to go through those. Then we go into tune image. So what we want to do with the tune image is we actually want to just increase the brightness a little bit. I know that we decreased it before. Increase the contrast, decrease the contrast a little bit. Bring up the saturation again. The ambience. Now the ambience you turn, it's up to you how you want to look at it. If you want to do full, if you want the full thing like I've just recently showed on the page, then you do that way. And you change the ambience to 100%. Highlights you drop down again to 100%, negative 100. Shadows, depends on how you want to make it look. I like to make it look a little bit like I've painted it. And boom, like that, already enough. Within seconds, within, I don't know, 30 seconds or so, it already looks different. Right, now we're going to go into the details tab. Now this is where things change dramatically. So what I do here is to get the detail that just looks very, very different. I take the structure once again up to 100%, and then I add the sharpening, and I don't... It's touch and go with how you want to sit it. So usually I do 100% on both of those, and boom, as you can see here, the picture already looks a lot different to what it did. And then what we'll do here is we'll go into the HDRscape. This is the one part that I'm not entirely sure on. Like I like to play around with it. As you can see here, you can bring it up and you drop the brightness, and it already looks different. Bring the saturation up, we'll take the saturation down, and then you've got something that looks completely different. So here I've taken the saturation down negative 40. And I'll bring the filter strength up a little bit and the brightness up, down. I brought the brightness down a little bit. So what this has done is it's actually created, I might bring it up a little bit. What it's done is it's actually made the photo look surreal. So it depends on whether or not you want to actually make it look that way. So I took these on my phone. My phone takes RAW plus JPEG. And then the last step that we go for is the drama effect. So what I use is drama, and it depends on how you want to make it look. If you want a dark version, if you want a light version, or if you just want a dramatic view. I'm not too keen on this one. For some reason I think I've gone a little bit too hard with the HDRscape. As you can see in the corner just over here, there's a huge bit of brightness. But as you can see, it already looks way different to what it was. I'm just going to accept that and go on to the next stage. So the next stage for me, what I always do is I chuck in my text, which I will just change to and Bambi underscore photography, because that is my So yep, that is my Instagram. I'll chuck that down there like so, and it's up to you if you want to have the opposite. If you want to have it just barely showing, you can drop it down, you can bring it up, you know. For this photo, I wanted it up. And then you just go to export and go share. Right, now I'm going to post this on my Instagram. And I'll upload the video that I've just recently taken of this. I'll upload it to YouTube. Okay, so feed. That's great because I can just chuck it on my Instagram feed. Boom, like that, and you know, just chuck in. I don't even use any of their filters because it's already got enough filters on it. And then go through here, type in what you want. I usually chuck in where I am and HD plus drama. And share. So in this case, what I'll do is I'll chuck on some hashtags. It was actually a street shot, but it's not monochrome. It is. Just going to take that one out. And Lightroom, I'm going to change to Snapseed. So Snapseeds usually do have quite a fair bit of exposure. So yeah, that's just something that I've done. And that's it really. So back to that. So I'll post this photo up on our page, and just remember, if you want to follow, take a look at Bambi Photography on Instagram. I also have a Facebook page, and I mean, if you want to go into any more detail, you can use frames and shit like that as well. But to be completely honest, yeah. Right. Okay. So that's my tutorial for tonight, and I hope you have a great night. I've just got back from the hospital, so I'm gonna try and do some other stuff.